list would be pasted at the back of the class. We had a notice board kind of like this, and all the scores would just be there, so you're seeing yourself in that ranking where you are. So who wants, no, because who doesn't want to be number one? Tell me who doesn't want to be number one? Me, I was competitive. I have a picture of myself in class 2 wearing best in. Hey, I have to find that picture. And then the people that got badges, this was the best part. Later that afternoon, you would be called into the library, and it would just be like an exclusive post-lunch kind of thing, and you have soda and biscuits, and that was your gifts for passing and doing well. You do badly, you know the teacher is coming for you. You just know. Oh, it was a thing to share bathrooms, like, and I guess that's just how it was, because you don't have time to get ready in the morning. So with 30 minutes and you need to shower in the morning, you need to dress up and everything, I guess it makes the most sense to share a bathroom. There also was a crackdown on lesbianism at my high school, so that could have played a role in them building so many bathrooms. But
a win is a win.
This one time, I let my guard down and I was caught eating crisps or chips during the exam. Hey. My chips were confiscated. They confiscated my crisps. There is no time to waste at sitting down to enjoy your food. Eat that food and finish it and go back to class and finish your work. I don't know what it is about the Kenyan system, but having free time is like, how can we keep these students busy? We need to keep them busy somehow. And then Sundays, it would be, damn, we had class on Sundays too. Anything was grounds for being whooped in primary school. Like, you have to sneak in food because you're going to be punished, yet someone else is carrying whatever they want every single day. There's such a fear factor that comes with being a prefect in primary school. You're not really a leader. They just use you as Namuita your baby. Kumana na baby. Oh, nimona kipenzi. Ni mshenzi akupendi. Ama kweli mtihani. Bora ni enjoy. Maisha mafupi ni simple. Welcome back. Hey, that music ended too quickly, man. Hello, how are you doing? Hey, hold on. Okay, let me get myself together. Okay, welcome back to yet another video, yet another episode. Welcome to TWIRI'S World, or welcome back. Thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, please go and catch up, because you've missed a lot. You have missed a lot, but actually you're here at the right time, because we don't have too many videos yet. I am very, very happy that you're here, and I want to start off by doing just a few updates, just some random, not so random updates, just things that were on my mind before I started the video. Last week I told you I'm reading these books. Still reading the books. I've actually made some progress. I have 30 pages left of this book, and then this one, the scary book, I am about 79 pages in, and it has what, almost 300, about 300 pages. So I still have a long way to go, but the plot is already thickening. It's like one of those books that gives you different, each chapter is not really a chapter, but someone else's perspective, like a different character's perspective. So that's what's going on, and man, it's getting heated. I told you last week that someone lost their daughter, and the person is still looking for the daughter, but now she's like low-key finding clues, and she's finding it in the most unexpected places. She found one clue at her therapist's office, but yeah, she's finding clues, and I'm like, whoa. And just everyone in the book is intertwined in a way, but they don't know that they're intertwined. Like, that book is literally the definition of it's a small world, and none of them know that they know each other. Update number 2. I realized that I'm no longer as nervous as I was when I filmed my first video. I feel a lot more comfortable. I think the more I go, the more comfortable I am. Tyler won an award. Was it the VMAs? I think that's what it was, right? And she won Best Female Afrobeat Artist. Congratulations to her. I just think that whoever is creating the categories needs to be more intentional. If you want to gift someone an award, give them something in the actual category that they represent. I have a few albums I need to listen to. Nyashinsky just released an EP. Fireboy just released an album. I know that one. I love Fireboy's music. I'll be back next week with an update. And tell me what your favorite song is so I can listen to that one too extra attentively. I'm going to get straight into the topic. And today's topic is about 844. I'm going to actually make this a series, so this is not going to be the last video. I think I'm going to do 3 videos, and they're all just going to explore different things that have been on my mind in regard to 844. If you don't know what 844 is, it is the Kenyan school system that I went through. I know there's a different one now, it's called CBC. I don't know how different CBC is from 844. It's changed a bit since I was there. But I will be speaking on 844 because a lot of people my age and above went through 844. So I think it's just the little children that have not experienced the same system that we experienced. Today I will just be sharing a general overview of what 844 was like for me, and then the other videos will get into a deeper analysis or a deeper reflection of particular aspects in that experience. Like I said, 844 Kenyan school system, it's 8 years of primary school. So from kindergarten or nursery, we used to call it nursery. Kindergarten was not really. So nursery school, class 1 to class 8 is all in one school, and then you do 4 years of high school, and then you do 4 years of university. That's 844. Makes sense, right? Yeah. There's nothing like middle school and all that. I mean, there was nothing like middle school. I think now it's a bit different, but that's not my problem. I'm not here to. Let's focus on this one. For one, the primary school I went to, or just the primary school system in general, it was school starts I think at 7 a.m. or 7:30, and then ends at 4 p.m. So you're basically in class the whole day. If you're a day scholar, at 4 p.m. the buses pick you up, or you get picked up by your parents and you go home. We had 6 subjects, and that was maths, English, Kiswahili, science, social studies, Christian religious education. My school did not have Islamic religious education, just Christian. And then actually no, we had more than 6 subjects, and then we had computer, and then we had swimming, and swimming and PE were together. So if you have not watched the culture shock video, the very first one where I talked about school culture shock and all that, please do, because I shared a lot of things about my 844 experience in comparison to the K through 12 experience here. And I feel like you need that background information, because at the same time, like I said last video, I don't want to keep repeating things I said in previous videos, so just go and watch and see what I said. The classmates that you had would not change yearly. You would stay with the same people from class 1 to class 8. So by the time you're finishing, like, there's people I've literally known my whole life because we went to the same school our entire life for primary, and then we finished together. Everything is just like you're together all through the journey. So in terms of just how the education system was on the student, I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were talking about how competitive it was. Like, I don't even know if the education was about the learning at some point. It was just about competition, because you don't want to be the one that is not number 1. We had a ranking list. Each class had a class teacher. that's basically like your primary teacher in that class. You still have the other teachers that teach you all the other subjects, but this one is like the parent of the class, you know. So basically the class teacher would compile all the grades and scores of in all the exams, and then everyone is just ranked. All your scores are added up and everything is out of 500. If each subject that is being graded is out of 100, then whatever you get is out of 500 total. So now that list would be pasted at the back of the class. We had a notice board kind of like this. So we had a notice board and all the scores would just be there. So you're seeing yourself in that ranking where you are. So who wants, no, because who doesn't want to be number one? Tell me who doesn't want to be number one? I stayed in those top ranges because me, I was competitive. And you know, they had a lot of incentives. They had you know, if you're top 3 or if you're the best in a particular subject, you will get a badge and you get to keep the badge for the whole week, and the badge would say best in. I have a picture of myself in class 2 wearing best in. Hey, I have to find that picture. I don't know if I'll find it by the time I'm uploading this, but I'll find it at some point and I'll show you guys. And you know that the badges are awarded to you in front of the whole school. So we would have weekly assemblies, and the assemblies would be on Mondays and Fridays, if I'm not wrong, okay. And it's been a while, and we basically, after the exam, they would now announce, the teachers would announce, okay, best in this, and then you would all go to the front and then you would get awarded, you know, and it would just be so nice. Like, it was such a nice feeling. So who doesn't want that? No, who doesn't want that? Of course you're going to do your best so that you can try and be there. And then the people that got badges, this was the best part. This was the best part. The people that got badges, later that afternoon, you would be called into the library, and it would just be like an exclusive, you know, an exclusive post-lunch kind of thing, and you have soda and biscuits. And that was your gifts for passing and doing well and being the best in Kiswahili, best in science, best in math, best in English, whatever you are best in. And look, it was such a special feeling. Like, everyone else is just out there doing whatever, and then you're just like, yeah, I'm going to the library. I'm going to the library. It was a nice feeling. It was a nice, I think that's, honestly, I think that's where my love for exclusivity began. Like, if something is exclusive, it makes me love it even more. Like, you mean this isn't accessible to everyone? Yeah, I think that's where my love for that began. Because whenever I wouldn't go, I was always just like, damn, must be nice. That must be really nice. I know you guys are enjoying yourselves and having the time of your lives. I think there's also a picture of me in there. Oh my god, I have a picture of me with the soda. I have to find all these pictures and then I'll just bring them and show you guys. So yeah, like with incentives like that for children, and you know, these things started when we were young. Like, as young as class 1, you were already getting badges and being called to get your soda and biscuits after lunch. That thing started when we were children. So my formative years were built on me being competitive so I could get soda and biscuits and wear a badge. And then on closing day, we had a closing day ceremony. Hey, I was about to shrub so badly. Closing day ceremony, and the top 3 students in each class would be awarded, and they would just be given gifts. It could be the most random gifts, or it could be the most functional or the most random gifts. Like, sometimes they were giving us, I mean, what are some of the things they would give us? They would give us like water bottles and things like, did they ever give us mugs? I remember being given an umbrella, water bottle, maybe like a bag, like a school bag. What else did they give us? They used to give us, you know, just to gifts, just as incentives. Like, you did well, good job, here's your gift. And it would be now not only in front of the school, but now also in front of the parents. So who doesn't want to be given a gift in front of their parents? Like, Mom and Dad, I'm doing so well in school. Now you're getting to see me get my gift. Like, these are such powerful incentives to a child. And it's just like, yes, I want that gift. They also had a most improved. So it wasn't just for top. It was also, there was most improved. So, you know, even if you're not doing well, you try really hard to improve. And then they would basically compare scores from the last exam to this exam, who did the best in terms of improving, and then that person gets their gift. So it's like there was just always something for anyone that was showing significant progress. So me, honestly, when your scores are being publicized like that, and when your grades are just constantly being publicized, everyone can see who's number 1, 2, 3, up to who is, yeah. So I don't know, I feel like that just activated an aspect of competitiveness in me and my education. So a lot of things, I cannot lie to you, I don't remember from our primary school classes, especially things that I haven't had to use in my life, like parts of an insect, parts of a leaf. So some of those things I forgot because I was just learning them or just internalizing that information for the exam. As soon as the exam is done, it's like that information just disappears from my brain. And I think I've seen that too, even in other things in my life. Like, for example, when I joined the dance team, there are routines I learned and I just internalized them, and they became part of me. You could play that song and I'll dance it anytime. And then there are other routines that I learned, and if you ask me what that routine was, I cannot tell you, because all I did was I mastered the routine because I had this upcoming performance. Being interested in learning information plays a part in how much you're able to retain it. And then there was also a fear factor. Aside from incentives, there was a very, very, very present fear factor, because you do well, you do well, you get rewarded, right? You do badly, you know the teacher is coming for you. You just know that day after the exams are done, each subject, each teacher would come and basically review what the exam was and go over the exam with you, go over the questions, what the answer should have been. If it's math, this is how you should have worked out the answer. But then after they do that, they will still beat you for not doing well. And then some teachers would go as far as going question by question. Okay, who missed number 1? Okay, come to the front and get your kibokos. You get your cane. You get caned however many times. So the fact that you don't want that, you have to work hard. You have to try. And honestly, the fear factor was very reflected in how the students did in particular classes. I remember there are some subjects like math, for example, even Kiswahili, just depending on how strict the teacher was. Some people would really, really try to pass the exam just because they are afraid. So me, I mean, they did what they had to do, right? We passed, but at what cost? At what cost? That fear factor, it was instilled even more in class 8, because we used to have even panel beating. Panel beating is where all the teachers come to your class after the exam and they just work on you properly for not passing, for not doing well, because you're class 8. And honestly, the intensity of how much we were being prepared came from the fact that when you're in class 8, you do KCPE, and that's the national exam. Again, if you're at this point and you haven't watched Culture Shock, just go watch Culture Shock, because I've explained some of those things in more depth. And yeah, so you're doing KCPE and you need to pass the exam for you to go to a good high school, the high school of your choice. And then aside from that, the school also wants to be one of the top performing schools in the country. The school that has the best performing students also gets recognized. So then they have to really push you to do well in the exams. So the drive that we had, honestly, as students, that's where it came from. The drive came from the competitive nature of the classroom and just everything, and the fear factor. Going on to a different part of my experience, I went to boarding school, and boarding school was basically mandatory. Oh no, not the noise, hold on. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear that? I hope you can't hear it. But my neighbor has decided to work on something, so it's a bit loud. I had to close my window just to block some of the noise out. But yeah, I went to boarding school, and I started boarding school in class 7. Class 7, by now, you should know that means 7th grade. It's just the same, just called class instead of grade. And it was mandatory from class 7 in most places that did boarding school. I don't know if it was mandatory at an earlier age for any other person, but I know for mine it was at class 7 you have to do boarding school. So the minute class 7 reached, there I was now a boarder. And boarding school basically means that you live at the schools for 3 months at a time. We did trimesters, so from January to March, you're home for April, and then May to July, because yeah, second time was the longest one. You're home in August, and then September to beginning of November, and then you go home for 2 months for Christmas break. So we used to get a long break in December, and then the fiscal year was starting in January, and here it starts in June, August. It starts in August. Like, students go to school in August. I was not very homesick at first when I went to boarding school, because the boarding school I went to was really close to home, and the fact that it was close to home, you know, it kind of just felt like I was at a sleepover. Just home is right there, it's not too far. So I didn't really cry, I didn't feel anything. And then these were people that I've been with my whole life, basically. Like, my classmates have people I have literally known my whole life, and now we're in boarding school together. So, you know, in that moment it doesn't feel as overwhelming. It doesn't even feel overwhelming at all. Yeah, I was okay. I was just okay. Some of the things that just threw me off, like me, I've never had to do something like this in my life. In primary school, we had to share facilities such as the bathroom. No, I don't mean the toilet, I mean the shower. Yeah, I mean the shower. If you watch that video, I'm going to keep referencing so I can remind you that you need to go and watch that video. I talked about how early we used to wake up, and for you to make it to class within that particular time frame, which was what, 30 minutes, and it's how many of you in the dorm, you gotta me also. I found it being done like this. I found it being the norm. I found it, oh, it was a thing to share bathrooms, like, and I guess that's just how it was, because you don't have time to get ready in the morning. So with 30 minutes and you need to shower in the morning, you need to dress up and everything, I guess it makes the most sense to share a bathroom. So we would go in 3 at a time. I think it's safe to say that I feel like actually, never mind. Let me be diplomatic. But diplomatic as I'm telling you all this. Okay. Mind you, I was going to a private school, and this, you know, if you go to a private school, private schools are not cheap. And for a school that has the kind of fees that my school had, in hindsight, I truly feel like we should have had a sense of privacy. Like, we had a right to privacy. As in, what do you mean I'm sharing a bathroom with some? As in, I mean, it was normal, not necessarily, but it was normalized. So even as you do it, you're not even thinking too much about it. It's just like, this is what it is. When I went to high school, that was not the case, and I honestly, that was one of the best things, or one of the things I appreciated the most about my high school. The fact that you could just go into the bathroom and shower alone, by yourself. There also was a crackdown on lesbianism at my high school, so that could have played a role in them building so many bathrooms. But
a win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say. A win is a win.
Yani, I just appreciated the fact that I could finally just be in a shower stall by myself. It was just, Yani, like, why did I have to wait till high school? And honestly, that is one of the reasons why, I know it's not like that in college dorms. Obviously, that sense of privacy is there. But after having to share so many of those private facilities for a while, I did not want to dorm in college. I did not want to. People here get very excited to go off to college, right? Because people stay home their whole lives, and when they get to college, that's the time they have to now go off and be just own person and just live life. And then that's also different. It's not necessarily boarding school, it's just life. You have everything, you're not restricted, you can come back home whenever you want, you have your phone, you can call, you know. So people get excited like, oh my god, I applied to a school here, and it's all far, and people go. But me, I looked for the school that yani I can just drive to and come back home, because I was not about to. I think I did my time. That was my reasoning. I said I did my time. I did my time in boarding school. I am not trying to experience boarding school part 2. Because the other thing with that is that people have so many horror stories of the kind of roommates that they get, because a lot of times people can't select their roommates. You're either given, or you take a chance on someone, and they could either be the best roommate you've ever had or the worst roommate you've ever had. Was I willing to take that chance? No. So I said, let me just live. I will live in my father's house. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay.
Yes, I'm in my father's house, but seafood. You can see that this chicken, when it was alive, was a father of twins. This chicken was a head of a household.
So, yeah, that's yeah. I had no sense of privacy in primary school. The dorms are like, it's one. The way we had them in our primary school, it was cubes. So each cube had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cube mates, and those are just, I guess, the people that you're with during boarding school. Like, they're just kind of like your roommates, because it's just one small cube. In both high school and primary school, I was not allowed to carry food, or we were not allowed to carry outside food. So both institutions had a small shop in the school where they would open it on particular days. Mostly the weekends it would stay open, but during the week, my primary school did not open during the week. Like, why just allow us to carry food? Imagine other schools allowed their students to carry packaged food. Again, go refer to that old video. So me, as we were not allowed to carry outside food, so you had to do what you had to do. Me personally, I had to do what I had to do. I did what I needed to do. One time I was caught. I usually was very good, but this one time I let my guard down and I was caught eating crisps or chips during the exam. Hey. My chips were confiscated. They confiscated my crisps. But then, as in yani, I thought, what? And you know, when you are like the student that isn't, as in, I wasn't a mtoto mkorofi. Mtoto mkorofi is what? A naughty person. I wasn't a naughty child. Like, I really just, so kupatikana, hey god, it's so hard to explain this story in English. Being caught with snacks is not something that I would have expected to happen. Like, me, I thought the teachers were not there, because I honestly timed it so well. The teacher that was invigilating the exam left, and then I was like, okay, the teacher has been gone for a while. I'm eating my chips. I was eating my crisps, just minding my business. Let me tell you how I got caught. I got caught because someone borrowed me. Someone said I should give them some, or requested me to give them some. So out of the kindness of my heart, I said, okay, I will. So I take a few from my bag in my desk, and then as I'm passing it to my classmate, I was sitting at the corner. So imagine this is the corner. I'm like this. This is where the window begins. The teacher just creeps up. You know how they, oh my god, the teachers used to tiptoe so that you don't hear them. They walk so slowly, just very light steps so that you don't hear them. So he just came, stood at the window, and just watched me do the whole thing. And then I just looked, and the teacher was there. The teacher was there. The teacher caught me red-handed, and I had to hand over the chips. I had to hand them over. I don't remember how well I did in that exam, but I was very stressed out because now I'm like, damn, They took my chips. I'm no longer even worried about the exam. It's my chips that I'm worried about. They took my chips. But it's okay. I got them in the weekend. I think they kept it for how many days? Like 2 days. So obviously it was not sealed, but it was folded. So when I got the chips back, they weren't soft or anything. So I know the teacher kept them well. So the chips, whoever caught the chips, gave them to my class teacher, and then the class teacher gave them back to me after some days. Yeah, but other than that, I was never caught. Me, by the way, you can't punish me in this life. You can't tell me that I can't carry. You're telling me I can't have outside snacks in school? I'm sorry. Me, I'm gonna carry my snacks. So, like I said earlier, when you were in class 8, since KCP is so close, the preparation was so intense. Meaning that they would give you such intense homework and just a lot of work to prepare, to revise, and then on top of what they're telling you to do as part of the assignment, they're also encouraging you to study on your own, just study outside of schoolwork. And at some point it just got really overwhelming, and we started sneaking books into the dormitories. And mind you, we are going to bed at what, 9 p.m? We started sneaking books into the dormitories just because we needed to stay on top of the work that was being assigned to us. If something is due the next day, as in Aki, we used to have so much homework. Yani, that was just, it got to that point. And the teachers did not want us to sneak the books in. But it's like, how are we going to finish the assignments? Like, we can't finish these assignments, man. Because think about it, we've been in class from 7:30 to, let's say 7:38. I don't remember if the classes started at 7:30 or if they started at 8. It was one of the two. But now we've been in class that whole time, and it's been lessons all through until 4 p.m. 4 p.m, you have a break maybe until 5. I think at 6 you have dinner, and then that ends at like what, 7-ish, 7:30. And then now you go to class and you stay until 9. So that's how much time, free time you have. Maybe 1 hour of free time during lunch, that's 20 minutes of break time at like 10 a.m. So that's what, even lunchtime is less than an hour because you're eating. So guys, eating the way we used to eat lunch, we used to eat lunch like machines. You're eating so quickly so that you can go back and finish work because you have so much work to do. Hey, when I came from boarding school, yani, that's when I realized how fast I used to eat food, because it was so normal where I was from. There is no time to waste at sitting down to enjoy your food. Eat that food and finish it and go back to class and finish your work. Like, so we have that maybe 40 minutes window or however long. And then in the evening, now you have night preps for like an hour and 30 minutes. And then you have the next day, or in the mornings, you have from 5:30 to 6. Yeah, because then a teacher would come in. You would have a morning lesson from 6 to 7 a.m. What free time do I have? What free time do I have to do assignments for 6 classes, and they are hefty assignments? I have to sneak the books into the dorm. And I understand the teachers not wanting us to carry the books because they were like, you're going there to sleep. It makes sense. But you are the same ones that are giving us the assignments. Like, hey, something needs to be done. Because now I don't finish the assignment. Who's going to get beaten? It's not you, it's me. It's you that will beat me for not finishing the assignment. So, yeah, man, people just did what they had to do. So we would be under the blankets, because at the same time, the matron, as soon as the lights are out, you need to be asleep. Don't be caught talking. Don't be caught doing anything. So we would be hiding under the covers with our torches, doing our assignments. That's how. I'm telling you, in this life, you just have to survive. You just had to survive. You had to survive. So, yeah. In hindsight, when I look back, I'm just like, I could have slept, but then at the same time, I'm like, no. I feel like it was also just part of the experience. In those moments when all of you are going through the exact same thing, it's easy to make fun of it, and it's easy to just be like, as in, it's not that deep. because all of us are doing it, all of us are going through the same thing. But when you look back, why? As in, you can't even think of a good reason why that it needed to be like that. I think it was also just us coping with comedy. Cope with comedy, cope by making jokes. Because now if you don't cope by making light of the situation, you're just going to realize how intense everything is, and it might take a toll on you. So honestly, at the end, it was all worth it, I guess, because I passed my KCPE with flying colors. I did really well in my KCPE. So again, it was like we won, we did well, but at what cost? At what cost? We had matrons in the dorms, and the matrons were basically caretakers and people who would, you know, it's kind of like a guardian for the dorm in case anything happens, in case someone needs something, in case of an emergency. So we had matrons, and we had some cool ones. I feel like the ones I had were always nice, and they were also the ones that were in charge of waking us up in the morning, so we would hear our matron's alarm go off. And yeah, it was cool. They were nice. Honestly, I had some nice matrons. I'm even Facebook friends with one of them. I know, yeah, I still use Facebook. And I have another one I keep in touch with. I keep in touch with my high school one. Like, they were nice. I had some nice matrons, honestly. We also had Saturday classes in boarding school. So since you're there, I don't know what it is about the Kenyan system, but having free time is like, how can we keep these students busy? We need to keep them busy somehow. I found it like that. Saturday classes, and they were cool. I mean, it felt laid back. It didn't feel like it was too overwhelming, but we just had to be in class. And then the thing is that we wore home clothes on Saturdays, so just everything felt laid back about Saturdays because we were already in home clothes. We were not wearing uniform. So class 8 especially, I think honestly the Saturday classes were from class 6, 7 and 8. The younger children were just vibing. Honestly, they were just, by the way, boarding school started as early as class 3 for some people. So I think I knew of only one person that started in class 3. Usually you would start in class 5, you would have some class 4s, but you just imagine someone, who do you know that's in 4th grade or 5th grade right now? That person would be in boarding school in Kenya. That's just, it was the norm. Even when I was a day scholar, I had people that were in boarding school in class 5 and class 4. We would have games and sports the rest of the afternoon, and then Sundays it would be, damn, we had class on Sundays too. We would go to church, and then we would come back, have lunch, whatever, and then we would have a class. We would actually have a class. Damn, we had classes 7 times a week. What the hell actually was going on? So on Saturdays and Sundays, of course, it's not as intense. I think on Saturdays we only had 2 classes. One class in the morning and then another class in the afternoon, and then games after that. And games is basically what, it's like PE for the whole school. Everyone is just out and just playing different sports. So in primary school, I also played everything. I played football or soccer, and I played basketball, netball, everything. I played everything. So yeah, and then on Sundays it would be church, and then come back, and then 1 class, I think. Yani yaki we had, and I think also a night class. I think we had night classes basically every day, right? I just know that we would be in class for preps, and yeah, we did have classes. We did have classes because I remember being sent several times to go to another class to borrow a duster for the blackboard. Yeah, we had night classes. So the night classes, sometimes they wouldn't be as intense because, you know, it's just what, sometimes the teacher would just come and let you do your work, or just come and teach. But yeah, man, we were in class 7 days a week. Wow. I didn't have to do any duties in primary school, and I thank God I was just a child. They had people washing the clothes for us, but me personally, I preferred low-key. I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna wash my own clothes, because the way they had us do it was we would all put our shirts together, because all your shirts have your number, so they know whose shirt is whose. We would all put our shirts in the same place, one big basin, and then they would wash everything and then bring it back to us. So by the time we're coming back from class, you find that your shirt is on your bed, your trousers are on your bed, because at some point we stopped wearing dresses and started wearing trousers. So the trousers are on your bed, all that, your socks are on your bed. But yeah, and so sometimes I would wash my own clothes though. In high school, that one, there's no one to wash clothes for you. High school, it's you and yourself, and you're on your own. So I had a schedule for my clothes, because at the same time I didn't like washing all my clothes on Saturday, because it just felt like it would be too much. So I would wash just a bit every day. For punishments, I've already mentioned in the previous videos and even earlier in this video that we were being caned or whooped or beaten, however you want to refer to it. So it was honestly seen as a normal thing, just because that was just how it was, but really it should not have been a normal thing. But yeah, so we were being caned for everything in primary school, and you know, you fail your exams, you're late to class, you are out during break time. My god, you are caught talking, you're caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, you are caught with food, you are, I don't know, whatever it was anything was grounds for being whooped in primary school. So yeah, that was a very common punishment. There was also the use of prefects. Prefects are basically student leaders that are appointed or voted for to basically keep the order in the classroom, and you're basically the one that is responsible for anything. Like for example, if the teacher comes and the class is noisy, you're the one that the teacher is going to ask who was talking. Give me a list of the people that were talking. So I was a prefect for my entire primary school career. I was a prefect. But the thing with that is that there was a fear factor with that as well, and both on the students and on the prefects, because the student knows that if their name is on the list or if they are reported for something, they're going to get in trouble. The prefect knows, if I don't have anything to account for, I am going to be in trouble. So there's just a chain of fear. And I feel that in primary school particularly, the fear factor was just instilled too much, because in my efforts to not be punished, I'm creating complex relationships, or it's resulting in complex relationships with my classmates, because now you're seen as a bit of an outsider, or sometimes completely an outsider. And it's just like, I feel like the teachers don't feel that particular aspect of being a prefect, like they're not sensitive to that, and to them it's just, you either have it or you don't. You either tell me what was going on or you don't. You either tell me what was going on, or you take that beating that was supposed to be for someone else or was supposed to be for the whole class. You are going to take it. So there's such a fear factor that comes with being a prefect in primary school, because you're not really a leader. They just use you as, I don't want to say scapegoat. Scapegoat doesn't seem like the right word for this. Like, you take the brunt of everything. I just think that the meaning of what a prefect is supposed to be in primary school has changed, or it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Like, that's not what it was intended to be. It's not whatever was going on in my school. As in, it's just... We'll get into that in one of the other episodes. In terms of food, we were obviously eating at school because you live there. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'll get into the menu maybe another time. But the food was okay. It wasn't... it was okay. It was nothing too crazy. But obviously when you're in boarding school, some of those things just sound... They are just the most heavenly thing ever, because that's the only thing you have to look forward to. So hold on, I had a note to add to this. During break time in my primary school, when I was a child, they changed it a bit when I was older, like class 5, but my nursery school, class 1, class 2, class 3, all that, at break time at 10 a.m. they would give us tea, plain tea, right? Cool. The teachers would get tea and bread. As a child, I feel like I want that too. And it's like, why am I getting just plain tea? And you know, in nursery school, the teachers sit with you. When as we got older, the teachers had their own designated place for sitting. But in nursery school, the teachers are sitting with us right here. So you're drinking your plain tea and the teacher is in front of you just enjoying her bread with the jam and blue band. And it's like, me personally, I used to ask. And sometimes they would just break off a piece and give it to me. Because why am I staring at the teacher? Why am I drinking plain tea and I'm staring at the teacher eating her bread? Let us all eat bread then, if you want to include bread, or give all of us plain tea. Like, what? They did change it eventually and they started giving us tea and bread, or tea and a bun. One thing that really got me was that foreigners were allowed to carry their own food. Kenya is a place that has a lot of Indians, a lot of Arabs, right? And when I say that boarding school was mandatory for us, somehow it was never mandatory for them. Never saw them eat lunch with us. They didn't have break with us, like the tea, they didn't come with us. They would go to a different room. Like there was another, like an empty classroom, and now that's where they would go to eat their food. The food that they carried. Mind you, I just came from talking about how us we would be punished if we were caught with food from outside, yeah? But them, they're allowed to carry their food. They're allowed to carry snacks, lunch, break time snack, everything, whatever they want to carry, they can carry, and they will eat it at lunch. But the rest of us are getting punished for carrying food. Like, you have to sneak in food because you're going to be punished for carrying food, yet someone else is carrying whatever they want every single day. Every single day they're allowed to carry whatever they want, but you just be caught in class with a snack that you even bought from the school shop, but you carried it to class with you. Just make that mistake. I never thought it was fair, but obviously at that time I felt like I couldn't really say anything about that. When you see something being carried out as the norm, you just think you have to take it as it is. But when you look back, you realize that it was actually very unfair. It was a classist barrier. It's classism. It is classism. Boarding school was not mandatory for them either. I understand religious reasons, because a lot of them actually were Hindus. I think majority of the Indians in Kenya are Hindus, and the Arabs in Kenya are Muslims. I get them having religious commitments over the weekend or whenever they go to worship, but I don't think it was fair at all. Like, if it's about those religious commitments, I just know, and I truly feel that if the school wanted to, they would create that space for them to have their religious meetings, to have a leader, like a religious leader, come on their particular day and, you know, have that gathering and that community for them to fellowship together. I think if it's about special diets, if they have to eat something else, okay, cool. But they could have eaten our food. Something like rice and beans. Rice and beans is something that everyone can eat. It's vegan, it's vegetarian, it's everything. You can eat that very well. If it's on some days, okay, let's say you've served us ugali and beef stew and they can't have beef stew, they can still eat our food because you guys had a special diet for people who couldn't eat regular food. We used to have people who had special diet, and they would basically get something different from the rest of us due to health restrictions, due to doctor's notes, whatever it was. Why couldn't they get the same thing? They could have eaten this special food, which is also vegan, vegetarian, everything. There were alternatives. Why did it need to be an unfair situation where Indians and Arabs are allowed to carry their food to school? They are allowed to go home at the end of the day, but the rest of us, you have to eat the school food. You are not allowed to carry your home food. If you are caught with food, you get punished. You cannot attend the school unless you're a boarder at class 7. What was going on? Why was that the case? I don't understand. I don't think it was fair. I don't know if it still happens, but all I know is that should not have happened. Why should you start creating that classist barrier from the time we are children? Like, you're making us already feel like we're less than. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I truly just don't know. So yeah. In terms of religion, again, our church school was a Christian school, I guess. Not necessarily, but like majority of people were Christians. So on Sundays we would go to church, and there was a church right there, so we would go to that church. The Muslims would stay behind and do their own thing. There wasn't necessarily a designated, you know, like religious leader that would come and preach to the Muslim students or anything like that, of which I think should have been a thing, because if you have a diverse group of students, make sure that they are also getting enriched the same way the Christians are getting enriched. I know they would have their own sessions and all that, but I know it would have been nice to have, like, the same way we have someone coming to preach, have someone come and lead them in their sessions as well. They could have been more intentional with that. If there was more intention in having all these things, then they wouldn't be used as an excuse as to why some people can be excused from boarding school and the others can't. In terms of holidays as in break, school break, we were not really able to enjoy the holidays, because one thing about the Kenyan system, you're gonna have homework, and you're gonna have even more homework during the holiday. So it's like you can't even enjoy your time at home. Mind you, you haven't even been home. You can't enjoy your time at home because you have 20 model papers to do. I think I mentioned that. I mentioned that in the culture shock video. There's a time we had 40 model papers. Not in total for everything, but just for 2 subjects. 20 each. We had the same teacher for both. 20 model papers each. I didn't finish the model papers because honestly at some point, it's just too much work. It's too much. I couldn't do it. So yeah. My primary school didn't have any road trips, unfortunately, and I know I would always hear of people saying, like, my older brother, the primary school he went to, they took them to Uganda, they took them to Tanzania, they took them to Mombasa, they took them everywhere. Nakwambia, the guy was just doing a whole East African tour at such a young age. My school, they had a yearly, so I would always hear stories of people also doing inter-school competitions for sports and everything, and I thought that was so nice. But yeah, we had a yearly trip for class 8 students. So as a student at my school, you had to wait until you got to class 8 to do the trip that they give you before KCPE, and the trip was to Samburu. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't have the pictures. I took them. I had a digital camera. My mom had one and she gave it to me. Don't know where that digital camera is after I gave it back to her. I don't know where it went. But I don't think I have those pictures anymore. They were never transferred to anything, so I guess those ones just went like that. But yeah, eh, that was the one time we were allowed to carry food from outside, because they allowed us to pre-order, because we would get food like on the way back, and it would be chips, you know, nyama, as in chicken. I think it was just chicken. I don't think it was anything else. And then they would allow us to shop for snacks. So that was literally, quite literally, the only time in my primary school career that we were allowed by the school. Yeah, go buy snacks, or yeah, go buy food that you will eat at school from outside. That was the only time. Anything else, I had to sneak it in. I did, and I'm saying it with my chest that I snuck food in. There's nothing you can do to me now. It's been how many years? With sports, like I said, I played everything: football, basketball, handball, volleyball. I tried kinda. Track, I did track, I did relay, I did the 100 meters, 200 meters. Did I ever do 400 meters? I don't remember. Maybe like once in tryouts or whatever. But yeah, I extracurricular extracurricular activities. I did dancing, I did choir in primary school for both, and the dancing would basically be us performing at the church service every Sunday. We would just have something prepared. The school would have a segment in the church service agenda, so we would prepare a dance that we were taught, and we would practice the whole week or for 2 weeks or however long, and then we would also have a song, and the song would be us singing it, obviously. So it would be either or. So that's why I started dancing. Actually, I think I started dancing, the first time I ever did, was it class 7? I think it was class 7, the first time I ever danced as a performance in school. Ile, as in the one where we've trained and practiced as a performance, not the, I mean, I guess I could count the ones where it's like, oh, the class is preparing this for closing day, but it's like where I'm consciously, yeah, I'm learning this routine and I'm doing it and I want to be on this particular lineup. It was boarding school. So yeah, and then I was singing a bit back then. So whenever we had things for singing, I would be on the team for singing. So, or like in the choir for singing. I was actually in the process of editing, and then I kept remembering all these things that I forgot to add. So this is me adding them now. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to add them so I can finish this once and for all, because I initially did this as a primary school and high school together, but then I clipped all the high school bits out because I was like, it's getting confusing. Like, I don't want to have you keep going back and forth and getting confused on which particular stage I'm talking about. So high school will be the next video. And yeah, so I wanted to talk more about sports and all the sports I played, games, everything. I just kind of brushed past that a bit. And yeah, so we had 3 teams in my school, and they were named after mountains in Kenya. So we had one that was called Mount Kenya, and then Mount Elgon, and then Mount Kilimanjaro, or I guess mountains in Africa, because Kilimanjaro is not in Kenya. I was in Mount Elgon. Kenya was red, Elgon was blue, baby blue, and then Kilimanjaro was green. They even had names. It was the red devils, and then the blue whales, and then the green mambas. Hey, it was a whole thing. And basically, the team that you were assigned when you became a student at the school, you just stuck with that. Fun fact is that a lot of people don't actually know, if any of my classmates see this, people don't actually know that I started out as Mount Kenya. And then I don't know, we had sports day, and actually I guess I should explain what sports day was first. So since now we have 3 teams, and I mentioned that we didn't do inter-school sport competitions, we used to compete amongst ourselves. So it would be the teams against each other, and we would do, honestly, the sports were for everyone. We didn't have any official teams. Of course, people that were, the fastest runners or the best players were recognized, and people would have them play for their teams. But for the most part, it was for everyone. So me, one time we had a sports day and I saw Mount Elgon was winning and I was in class 1. I said, how can I join this? So I went to the teacher that was in charge of sports. Her name was no, and she was one of the strictest teachers I have ever seen in my life. I just went up to her. It was low-key scary doing that. Can I join Mount Elgon? And she said, yeah. I was so surprised. I thought it was going to be so much harder than that. And that's how I joined Mount Elgon. It used to be a lot of fun. Basically, the parents would come and watch. So we would have practice, everything, all that. And then sports day would be like literally one of the biggest days in school. All the parents would be invited, so they would come and watch us compete, and then we would prepare performances and just songs and everything for them, and it would be so nice. So literally you have all the little children from nursery all up until class 8. Everyone is just participating and competing, and it used to be really fun. I enjoyed it. And then the team that won everything, like comprehensive score, would get a trophy. And yeah, so a lot of people really liked competing in these sports because as soon as you're done, they would give us glucose and oranges. Like, I think it was like, was it a full orange or some slices? I would just say they would give you some slices of oranges. And considering the fact that I've mentioned to you that we were deprived of outside snacks, of course you want to participate so that you can get the glucose and the oranges. These are things that we did not have access to. So yeah, I also have pictures of this as well. This one I have more documentation. Sports day, I have pictures of me participating in all these things. So I'm gonna find the pictures and then I'll just bring everything. The other thing I wanted to talk about was talk more about teacher on duty and what that was. And basically the teacher that was on duty was the one that was in charge of making sure everything was running smoothly, everything was in order for that particular week. And how smooth your week was would depend on who is on duty and how strict they are. I remember one of the teachers on duty, I don't remember what class I was in, but it was break time and the teacher beat me, caned me for being, I know when you say beat, it sounds so, but it's just like with a stick. I guess it's still beating technically. But yeah, I was outside during break time and I was caned. Like, I've never forgotten that to this day. Even if I were to see that teacher today, I would walk past him. Because why are you beating me for being outside during break time? The bell for class to resume has not gone off yet. Why am I being anyway? So yeah, the teachers used to be very funny because they would they would have all these ways that they would use to catch people who are talking. And you remember how I mentioned the snacks, the way I was caught by the teacher because he just snuck up. That was literally how they used to do it. And then so that when we were in class 8, we devised a very, very smart tactic to know when the teacher is coming. So class 8, the building used to be just like one long building. So it would go in order. So downstairs, you have the class 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7. So then, since class 8 is all the way at the very end, someone discovered a way that there's a way you could open the window, because the windows were just like you open it outwards. So you open the window and you set it at an angle. And at night, because the lights are on, you can see a reflection of the entire hallway. So you set it at an angle, you see the teacher coming, and you just act like nothing was happening. We were all studying. We were all very, very serious students. We were not even making noise at all. They used to walk very lightly, and then obviously you can't hear them coming, and then they would just stand at the window and just observe, and someone would notice and the entire class would go mute. You know that Beyonce challenge. Honestly, boarding school had its ups and downs, but like I mentioned earlier, the fact that you have all these people that you're going through it with, it just makes it fun in a way. Like when I think of boarding school, I'm as equally fulfilled as I am traumatized. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I mean, it had its downs, but the ups were good because the ups were shared, moments that I shared with my classmates, and they're literally just core memories of my experience. Considering how early we were waking up and how just the kind of sleeping schedule we had, boarding school students, and I can say this confidently because I've experienced this other side. In boarding school, people have a problem of sleeping in class because we are running on very few hours of sleep, especially for the age that we're in. We were basically operating on adult sleep in our early teens. And then if someone catches you sleeping in class, it's also a problem. As in, there are just so many things that need to change from just the structure. I don't know what boarding school is like now. I would like to hear from someone who's in boarding school right now. But we were waking up at 4:30, man. We were waking up at 4:30. We were waking up at 4:30. As in, how do you expect me to not fall asleep? Do you know what hours those are? It's only hours, the night runners. Why are we waking up when the night runners are still active? There are times you would just get to class and that sleep would just be so... As in, you just... I'm not done with my sleep. So you just lay your head on the desk, you're like a few minutes, and then you forget, and the teacher comes, and they would... Obviously, they're catching you, like, why are you sleeping? You're in class, why are you sleeping? I hope God forgives us, because the way we just used to pretend that we were praying just so that we don't get punished for sleeping in class at 5 in the morning. Oh my gosh. Okay, we went through some things. Our school also had this service. Was it like once a month or once every 2 months? I don't know. But they would bring braiders to the school and barbers, and so the people that had their hair natural, because I had my hair relaxed, so the people who had natural hair, we were only allowed to do cornrows, either cornrows or relax your hair, or like braids with your own hair, no added hair. I remember one time I had cornrows done with some extra hair, and I was so scared, especially the first day, because I was literally just like, oh my god, what's going to happen the minute someone sees me, and they're like, they make it a big deal, even though it's literally cornrows, and they were even cut so that they can be short, can be so that they look like it's just natural. But yeah, it was very, very emphasized, no extensions, no nothing like that, just your own natural hair, or relax it. If you want to cut it, okay, but we were not allowed to braid with extensions. So yeah, the school would bring braiders, and they would basically spend the whole day braiding the girls, and then the boys would get their haircuts and everything. And you know that it's just one standard haircut. There is no fancy haircut. Just shave everything off, everything, until it looks like this. I thought that was nice. It was thoughtful, because you know, if students are staying in school 3 months at a time, it only makes sense to at least try to take care of them in a way. I think it goes without saying that we had no devices. I've also mentioned that in the culture shock video. I've mentioned it enough times. Like, by now you should feel like you have something on your to-do list. Watch culture shock video. The only other thing that I noticed with my particular primary school was that I realized this in class 4. I think it was the first time we needed to buy books. So they had us buy they gave us a list of books to buy, right? And I remember that they would always ask us for a particular storybook, either an English book or a Kiswahili book. And it was a requirement to buy that book, right? Tell me how this makes sense, because it never made sense to me. So we've bought the books, and as far as we are concerned, those are our books to read for class, right? So then why would the class teacher come and collect these particular storybooks, and we would think it's for them to go check that every student has carried the required book, and then later on you go to the library and you find the book that you bought, the book that your parent bought you for you to study, is being used to stock the library. Guys, we were being low-key scammed there, because it happened like 2 or 3 times before I realized. I was like, wait, these people never give our books back. So you would go to the library to check out books or to borrow books, and you see your books, like the book that class 4 students bought is here, the book that this other class bought, like we were stocking the library. I was not aware of this. So you know what I did? I took my book. If you told me you wanted me to stock the library, that's one thing. Okay, at least I know. But you're asking me to buy a book to read as part of class and as part of the curriculum, as in it's just listed by English aid, by primary maths, by storybook with this particular name, by sijui za Abunuasi, by, it's looking like it's part of the list, but really it's not. I took my books back because I don't know, I felt like we should have at least been notified of that. That was scamming happening right there. No. And again, the kind of school I went to, I truly feel like that's not something that needed to happen. That's not something that needed to happen. I think that's all I have. I intended to keep this very brief, but it actually just kept going. But yeah, that was my 844 experience, like an overview of what that was like. It wasn't really an overview, I gave you so many details. But yeah, next week I'll get into a different topic in regards to 844. So stay tuned and see what that is going to be about and share your experiences. As you leave, please like the video, please subscribe if you haven't, please share, please comment. Like, actually all these things help my channel to grow. Any engagement, any form of engagement truly helps the channel grow. It helps to push the content out, so please help me push the content out. Show me that you're here, because I also can't see who subscribed, by the way. If you've set your account on private subscription, private whatever, I can't see your name. Out of all my subscribers, I think I can only see like 5 people. So yeah, the rest of you, find a way to let me know that you're here, because I also need to appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon. I will see you on the next video. And yeah, will I see you next week? Just come back next week, okay? I'll even record that video in advance so that I can film it properly on time, because last week I had some issue. Why am I still talking? Bye.